Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at Reel a Tale with you. Date the 2nd of January 1972. Time was 3:35 in the morning. A large expensive limousine car arrives outside Pierre Hotel. There is a guard standing outside the hotel. He first looks at the car and then looks at the time. He finds it very strange. But a voice comes from inside the car that I am Dr. Foster and I have booked a room in the hotel. I want to go inside. Gord first checks his list. He gets a name Dr. Foster, but he calls the hotel reception to confirm. He asks if Dr. Foster checked in. A voice comes from ahead that those who have booked the room have not arrived yet. Gord then allows them to come inside. About 8 people come out of this big car, and as soon as they comes inside, the first thing they do that put the gun on the guard's forehead, and then, after handcuffing him, they make him a prisoner. They have to face 9 guards from the main gate of the hotel to the reception. They take everyone captive at gunpoint. On reaching the reception, they find 10 more people who were working there. They handcuff everyone and make them prisoners. Now everyone was afraid that today was their last day in this world, but 8 out of 8 robbers talked with them very nicely. Now the girl who working at the reception tells them, "We have cash, we have a lot of cash, you take it, and please don't do anything to us." She says that we currently have $10,000 in cash, take it and don't harm us. But the robbers said no to receptionist. They said, "We do not need your money, nor we will kill you. Just keep doing as we say silently." Later he asks the girl to give us the list of all the guests in this hotel. Then the reception girl gives the list. Then they take out another list from his pocket. Names of some people were written in that list, and some of these guests were staying in their hotel today. And after doing all this, they start marking something in the list. And seeing this, the reception girl comes to know that they are not an ordinary thieves and they are going to do something big. What did the girl saw in that list? And the 18 people who are prisoners were considering them mad because they refused very big amount of money according to that people. They must take this money and go from there because $10,000 was a huge amount at that time. But this was the start of the biggest hotel heist in human history. Before knowing what they did in the hotel, let me tell who these people were. We will have to go back a bit. There was a man whose name was Bobby Comfort. People used to call him Mastermind. He had a very sharp mind. He wanted to do something big in his life. That too soon, and he was also doing research for many years. He had seen many ways, but he chose only 3 to 4 ways to become a big man quickly. He met one of his friends whose name was Sam. Sam was very different from Bobby. Bobby wanted to be rich, but he thought that no one should suffer because of me. But on the other hand, Sam wanted to be rich. He could do anything to become rich. So these people made a plan that they will commit a very big theft. Such a theft that once it is committed, they will not have any problem in sitting free without work and eating for the rest of their life. That's why they read newspapers all day long. After so many days of research, they came to know that they cannot steal from banks, jewelry shops, or any other place. That's why these people chose hotels, because they are a little weak in terms of security. They had some other reasons also, which we will tell you later. Now the question was, from which place to steal and from where they would get a lot of money. While doing this, they started to understand that this theft cannot be done by just 2 people together. They need a whole team to commit this theft. Therefore, he formed a team of 8 members who are experts in their respective work. I will tell further in the video what work the members do, but the big question is why he chose Pierre Hotel only. And secondly, what did the reception girl see in that list that surprised her? And thirdly, why did they choose the day of the 2nd of January? There was a proper planning behind this. That is not these people just got up and came. Pierre Hotel was a very big hotel, and everyone knows this thing. Even today it is a very big hotel, but it is important to note that the security here is very high because many rich people come here to live. So they made a plan to steal from this place because the more rich people, the more money. Now, it is not the case that rich people roam around with money. That is why the date chosen is the 2nd of January. Everyone knows that the new year has started from the 31st Eve in New York, and on the new year, rich people are partying to the fullest. They are doing so and will continue to do so. Many people come here to celebrate New Year. Here they do open parties and drink alcohol, and after drinking, they get drunk. On the 2nd, a lot of people got drunk and were lying in the hotel. Later, it was also revealed that about 70 CO people who stayed in the hotel were under the influence of alcohol. Now, how could those drunken people fight with thieves even if someone seemed to be able to fight with them? The robbers had a complete plan. What was their plan? And here another point came, that in America, banks were close on first and second date. When many people came to the city from other cities, they had to keep all their money in the hotel locker room instead of the bank, because there was no other option available to them. From this perspective, there was more money and more expensive things keep in the locker room of the hotel than in the bank. This is the reason that this date was chosen. And another thing is, more crimes are committed on the 31st of January, and less crimes are committed on the 1st and the 2nd of January. That's why the police has also remained less active. That's why 2 dates are best for theft. Now we know who was Dr. Foster. Whose name was this doctor? Those people who entered inside the hotel actually stole some man's credit card before the robbery. His name was Foster. The room was booked in the hotel. The bill was on his name. And with this, they went inside the hotel with the help of the name of the Dr. Foster. This is the another reason these people have chosen this hotel, because out of 8 people, 2 people have worked in the hotel. They have complete information about the hotel. Now we know what that list was. That list was of the richest people who stayed in the hotel, who has stayed in which room with the most money. Later, he takes another list and knows the locker number of these rich people. In this way, their plan was clear that they only breaks the lockers, not any other thing. That too, only of the few rich people. They had kept 2 experts along with them just to break the locker. Those people were expert that they could break any lock in 2 minutes. Now they have 400 lockers which are available in the hotel. Why did they not open all of them? On that thing, they also research every aspect. These people would know that between 3:30 and 4:30, they would enter the hotel and take people captive. They also learned that the day shift of the hotel started at 7 in the morning, so they passed the guard at the gate at 3:35 and took possession of the reception at 3:50, and then only they had 2.5 hours. No expert can crack 400 lockers in this short time. Therefore, they thought that they only break richest persons' lockers, and they added approximately 100 lockers to the list to open. The plan was that if someone came from outside, they could call the police. That's why they made a plan in between 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. This plan was correct. But the second thing was that what would happen to those people who stayed in the hotel if they came out? For this, they had a strong plan. The people who stayed in hotel are not normal people. They were very rich people. They had a lot of money with them, and with the money came security. They also had personal guards. Some people also had their own weapons, and robbers also had a very strong plan about this situation. What was their plan? We will tell you. Now we come back to the hotel where robbers took the list, and 4 out of 8 people went to the locker room. Sam and his friend Bobby, who is the mastermind of the robbery, also go to the locker room, but Bobby comes to the reception area again and again to see if there is anything wrong. He was taking care of everything. 2 experts and Sam go to the locker room to break the locker. 2 people's work was to break the lock, and Sam's work was to see the money and other things and put them in the bag and take it out. But here something strange happens. A call comes at the reception, and one of the 4 men answers the call and talks as if it was his regular work. And the man who was talking in opposite side said angrily that the elevator has been stuck here for 15 minutes. Please get it repaired as soon as possible. Now, what they had to do was to stop this man at some place and wait for the elevator to start working. But there was also a fear that this man might come down from some other way. Now, 2 of them go up to the elevator to bring the man down, and along with him, there are 2 more people in the corridor. One is his wife and other his mother. They brings them down lovingly and also apologizes because of the elevator and asks how they are, if they want anything. But that man talks to them in a rude manner. When they go to the reception, they also handcuffed and told that they should also sit there. This was part of their planning, that if any person the hotel asked something. So a one thief was trained on how to talk to them, what to talk about and what not to. On the other side, the lock in the locker room is being broken, money is being taken out, and jewelry is being taken out. At 5:45, an old man said that I have a heart problem and I am also having chest pain. Now they say what to do now and they check the list, because they had already knew that there were 2 to 3 doctors in the hotel. A doctor is chosen, he was called, and he was told that we need you, can you help us? The doctor says that this is my duty, I will do it. Then the doctor will bring medicine and his stuff from his room. Then he was brought down with the help of the elevator. When he reached down, he was surprised as to see what was happening there. And then doctor treat the old man, and after giving the treatment, he asked to the thief, can I go to my room now? Then a thief say no, and then they handcuff him and told him to sit down. The doctor come to treat the poor fellow, but he would have also become a prisoner. Here, Bobby's plan was that we would leave the hotel at 6:15, because the new shift would start at 7 o'clock. At this point, that hunger and greed had appeared in Sam's eyes. He was thinking that he would get 10 more minutes or 5 more minutes so that he could get more money. But Bobby knew that if we waited for more time, we would get caught. We would lose even this money and spend few years of life there in the jail. But Sam kept doing it till 6:30. Bobby was saying that we had to leave as quickly as possible, but by the time they set the items, the clock shows the time 6:50. Now they only have 5 to 7 minutes to get out of the place. In the end, he talked to all the people very lovingly. They say that you all helped us a lot, and later they give them $20 notes to everyone and say that you call the police. That is yours, right? But do it after 5 to 10 minutes, so that we go out of the city, and it takes some time for the police to find us. But when the thief comes out of the hotel, people call the police, and the police comes to know that a big theft has taken place there, in which not a single bullet was fired, not any sign of slap and punch. And on top of that, there was no conversation except for Sir and Madam. The police have arrived at the hotel and everyone is calm. There is no fear on anyone's face. The police are surprised to see that. But later when they looked in the locker room, it was in a bad condition. More than 90 lockers were broken. When they later checked the valuation, everyone was surprised because these thieves had stolen more than $28 million in 2 hours 30 minutes, and that too in such a short period of time. After this, the police checked the hotel, and there was media pressure on the police, and the media printed such a story. Media put a lot of pressure on police about the case. And the robbers stole the item of the most rich people. These people had connection with the upper authorities. But the police did not get anything in 2 days. How could they found? Because they had not left even a single clue. And people couldn't see their face because they had changed their face in such a way that everyone looked the same. They made drawings from those people who were prisoners, and they kept making different drawings. This meant that robbers had changed themselves so much that no one recognized them. Here the media continuously asking questions to the police and said that it has been so long that the police could not catch the robbers till now. On the other hand, let's talk about the robbers who stole more than 28 million worth with diamonds and jewelry. They were met after 2 days. The money is divided as per their decision. When it comes to jewelry, it was worth 20 million. They thought that if they sell these jewelry, maybe they all get caught. That's why they make a plan. We will have to keep everything hidden for a year. We will not sell this item for a year because now it has become a big news. If we sell it now, we will all be caught and our work will be wasted. On this matter, everyone should agree that for 1 year, we will all live our lives in the simple way which we have been living before. Yes, now we have got some money, but after next year, we will change our life completely. But after 2 days, they did not know what had happened to Sam. He told Bobby that no, we will have to change the plan. We should sell all these goods as soon as possible. If we were caught and someone saw these things with us, we would be in trouble. Bobby and the rest also explained to him a lot. Let us tell you that all the people who joined him belonged to criminal background. Some of them were thieves and some of them were contract killers. If by chance any guest comes with a gun, they hired 2 contract killers to deal with them. But their main point was that no one should be killed. They also kept 2 shooters in team and an educated thief for communication. If we talk about their relationship, there was tension between them. This is because money was not distributed properly, or the money was not enough, but everyone agreed that we will not sell the jewelry right now. But Sam said that I have a friend. The one who can buy this stuff is a trustworthy man. Bobby says, let's sell it little by little. They had a necklace alone which was worth $700K. If we look at today's calculations, they had stolen only a necklace worth $4 million. They find a man to sell that necklace, but the man turns out to be an FBI agent. This is how Sam and Bobby had caught. And on that day, another friend of them was caught, and the police thought that everyone would be caught, but after this, no one was caught. Out of the $28 million, the police could only recover $2.5 million. The police have not been able to find the rest of the money till date. And whoever caught, they also released after 2 years. Even after that, the condition of the thieves is not good. Some dead in gang war, and some was killed by his friend. The remaining thieves went to England and spent a lot of money there. And after that, Bobby also went to England and lived his life fully. With this, the story ended, which also has a record in the Guinness Book of World Records in the name of largest and biggest hotel heist. So, this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful videos like this one. Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another real story with you. Can a post-mortem report be wrong? Can the cause of death be falsely written in a post-mortem report? Can a post-mortem or forensic report falsely claim that the victim was not raped? Can it happen that one police team investigates and calls it a murder, but then a CBI team comes and declares it a suicide? These are all questions connected to the mysterious death of a famous actress. She was a well-known actress from the South during her time, and she died under very mysterious circumstances. It's been nearly 20 years now, maybe even more. But the real reason behind her death is still unknown, still hidden behind a veil. Although the CBI has finalized its report, her family still refuses to accept it. The doctor who performed the post-mortem and declared it a murder was also penalized. But again, the question remains, was the cause of death intentionally written falsely in the post-mortem report, or made to be written falsely? Because wherever there are people, conspiracies can exist too. This is the story of Pratyusha, a very promising actress from the South. She was born in Hyderabad. Her father passed away when she was a child. Pratyusha has a brother and their mother worked a job. She used to say, "I will educate my children well so they can achieve something in life and live a good life." She enrolled them first in good schools and then in good colleges. Pratyusha also wanted to get a good government job, but over time she saw how hard her mother worked for both of them, her and her brother. So she felt that after college she might become too selfish. She thought it would be better to help her mother with some household work. She said, "Let's do something productive. Studies can continue alongside." She was also very passionate about acting. By coincidence, there was a reality TV show happening in Hyderabad at the time, a television star contestant competition meant to give opportunities to new and emerging talents. Pratyusha applied for it, got selected, participated in the competition, and not only did she take part, but she also went on to win it. She was awarded the title of Miss Lovely Smile. Winning such a competition for emerging stars made her feel like the doors to the film industry would open. But it wasn't that easy. Time passed slowly. She kept trying, knocking on the doors of producers and directors. Eventually, her hard work paid off, and she got her first break in a Telugu film. In 1998, a movie called Rayudu was released, and Pratyusha got a chance to play the heroine. The lead actor in this film was Mohan Babu, a very well-known artist. And in this film, there were 3 heroines. One of the characters was played by Pratyusha. After this film, Pratyusha gained some recognition in Telugu cinema. She started to feel that her destination was getting closer and that she would finally achieve what she wanted to support her mother and manage household expenses properly. After that, in 1998, she got another film, Ramuleya. This film was released and did moderately well at the box office. Pratyusha gained a bit more recognition. As time passed, she started getting more film offers. By 2002, she had acted in around 10 films, and among the rising heroines of that time, her name began to be included. In South India, like in Telugu cinema, people who work there often get chances in Malayalam and Kannada films too. The same happened with Pratyusha. Producers would line up to get her dates. It felt like Pratyusha's life was finally on track. She was gaining recognition in films, getting work, earning money, and she had even bought her own house. Her mother was happy, her brother was happy too. But still, there was an emptiness in her life, and the reason for that was a childhood friend from school, someone who had been with her since school days. There was someone named Siddharth, whom Pratyusha loved deeply, and he loved her just as much. Both of them wanted to get married one day and be with each other forever. As Pratyusha started finding success in films, Siddharth was pursuing his engineering studies. Pratyusha felt that the time had come for them to get married. She spoke to Siddharth about it. However, Siddharth's family didn't want their son to marry an actress working in films. Both Siddharth and Pratyusha tried hard to convince them, but his family wouldn't agree. Pratyusha thought it was best to give it some time, hoping they might eventually come around and agree to the marriage. Meanwhile, her film career was taking off. She was achieving new milestones, gaining fame and wealth. But despite all this, there was a deep emptiness in her heart. She couldn't have the love she truly desired. Then came the date, February 23rd, 2002. That day, Pratyusha spoke to Siddharth again about their marriage. She also mentioned that she had just received a new film offer and had to go meet the director that same day to sign the film and discuss the project. Siddharth said, "Okay." Pratyusha told her mother and shared the happy news that she had gotten a film project and had to go sign the contract. But just 2.5 hours later, her mother received a phone call. The person on the other end informed her, "Please come to the hospital immediately. Your daughter has committed suicide." As soon as the mother heard the news, she was completely shaken. She rushed to the hospital with her son. When they arrived and inquired, they found out that both Pratyusha and Siddharth were in the hospital, and both had consumed some kind of poison. Siddharth is out of danger, but Pratyusha has passed away. Now that all of this has happened, the mother is unable to comprehend what actually occurred. Siddharth's family also doesn't understand what happened. Everyone waited for Siddharth to regain consciousness. When Siddharth regained consciousness, he gave a statement. He said that he had gone to meet Pratyusha. She was very happy. She had gotten a new film. She had said that they would go to sign it together. But then the topic of marriage came up, and after that the two of them went to a shop. Siddharth had a car. From that shop she bought a bottle of insecticide. He said that after that both of us went to my house. After reaching there, he put that poison in the cold drink. He drank one and Pratyusha drank the other. After that, I don't remember anything. Why he did this, he explained, it was about marriage. So overall, it's clear that both of them tried to end their lives, and the motive seems to be that they were unable to get married. But Pratyusha's mother is not able to accept this. The reason? She said that just 2.5 hours earlier, her daughter was extremely happy because she had landed a role in a major film. She was doing well and her career was about to take off. She said that a very prominent South Indian director, Teja, was making a film in which Pratyusha had been cast as the lead heroine. The film was titled Jayam, and it was supposed to mark Jayam Ravi's debut. Pratyusha herself had called her and said, "I'll be going there in some time to sign the film. It's a huge project." So the question is, how could a girl who was so happy just 2.5 hours earlier suddenly commit suicide? Why would she take her own life? Her mother raised serious questions. She also told the police to investigate the matter, saying, "My daughter could never commit suicide." Meanwhile, in Tollywood, that is the local film industry, there was an uproar. How could such a promising and rapidly rising actress take her own life? No one could believe it. Around the same time, the post-mortem report came in. When the report was released, the doctor who conducted the post-mortem stated that Pratyusha did not die by suicide. Instead, she died due to strangulation. Suddenly, the entire story changed because there was one man who was with Pratyusha in the hospital and who survived after consuming the same pesticide. Pratyusha, on the other hand, lost her life supposedly due to poison, but the post-mortem report clearly states that her death was due to strangulation. The same report also mentions that Pratyusha was raped before her death. Pratyusha's mother again insisted, "My daughter was murdered. I've been saying this from the beginning." She named a minister, alleging that the minister's son, his associates, and Siddharth were all involved in the murder and gang rape of her daughter. As soon as this report surfaced in the media, it caused a huge stir. When the cause of death was found out, there was a big uproar. There was pressure on the police as well. Many big actors and producers also started pressuring, saying, "Please investigate this case properly." But the police stuck to their stance that they would proceed based on the doctor's report. Meanwhile, Siddharth was arrested by the police with charges of murder and rape. However, the minister's name or his son's name was not yet public. So, what happened next? The police kept investigating, but people did not trust their investigation now. Then many artists, prominent actors, directors, and producers approached the Chief Minister of Telangana and told him to hand over the investigation to the CBI because the police were trying to cover up the case. The reason being that a minister's name and his son's name were involved, and so the murder case was being disguised as a suicide. They said that a proper and honest investigation would not happen otherwise. That's why it was necessary to hand over the case to the CBI. Eventually, even the government realized that since one of their own ministers' names was coming up, then the case investigation was handed over to the CBI. Now, the CBI starts the investigation of the Pratyusha murder case. The investigation begins with the story of what actually happened on the day Pratyusha died. When the CBI conducts their investigation, they find out that on the afternoon of the 23rd, Pratyusha went to a beauty parlor. After a short while, Siddharth suddenly arrived there and talked for some time. After that, both of them left the beauty parlor together. Siddharth was in his car, and Pratyusha had returned her own car. Now, Pratyusha and Siddharth both sat together in that car. From there, they were driving around on the road. After some time, the car stopped outside a shop where they bought some insecticide. Then they both got back into the car. After a while, Siddharth's car stopped near his house. Pratyusha and Siddharth got out of the car and went into Siddharth's flat. At that time, Pratyusha was a heroine who had already released 10 films. People knew her, and even the neighbors had seen Pratyusha arrive. Then those people went inside. But when she didn't come out for a long time, the neighbors who were waiting started feeling something was wrong. They rang the doorbell repeatedly, but no one responded from inside. When there was no response, one of them happened to know Pratyusha's family, and some knew Siddharth's family since they lived nearby. So Siddharth's parents were called and told that Pratyusha and Siddharth were there, but the door was locked and hadn't been opened for a long time. They kept ringing the bell, but no one opened it. They feared something bad might have happened. Then they informed the police. When the police arrived and entered the house, they found both Pratyusha and Siddharth lying on the floor. Foam was coming out of Pratyusha's mouth. Both were rushed to the hospital immediately, but Pratyusha died while Siddharth survived. When the full story came out, the police said, "Where did this post-mortem report and the claim of rape and strangulation murder come from?" The police investigated, spoke to the doctors, and then questioned why such a thing was written, that someone could die from strangulation when the actual cause of death was poisoning. The pressure at that time was that the minister's son's name was also being removed because the story was that a minister's son and his friend altogether gang-raped an actress. The police then conducted investigations based on the doctor's reports, post-mortem and forensic reports. Now, questions started arising about the CBI as well, with people saying the CBI was taking too much time and trying to cover up the case. There was already a perception about the CBI that whenever they take a case, they end up burying it. Anyway, the CBI conducted the investigation. The CBI submitted a report that shocked everyone. Until then, the mother and others had hoped the case would be handed over to the CBI instead of the state police so that a fair investigation could take place because the minister's son was involved. The police had registered a murder case, Section 302, against Siddharth based on the post-mortem report. But after the CBI completed its full investigation, it removed Section 302 from the FIR, and in a new FIR declared Siddharth not a murderer, but accused of abetting suicide. They said that because of him, Pratyusha committed suicide. When this happened, doctors and others were further investigated in detail, and it was found that when both of them were brought in that condition, after having ingested poison, their mother had also seen them. The mother of Pratyusha gave a statement to the police saying that when she came, she saw her daughter's body, and then she looked at Siddharth, who had only applied the pesticide poison on his lips to deceive people into thinking that he had also consumed it. Both of them were committing suicide together, but he was perfectly fine, healthy, and there was no threat to his life. This happened because first their daughter was raped, then she was murdered. After that, to stage it as a suicide, these two consumed poison or pesticide. After the mother's allegations, the CBI reopened the investigation, but in the end, the CBI blamed the doctor who gave the post-mortem report and said the doctor's report was wrong. By that time, the funeral had already taken place. Ultimately, the CBI did not hold Siddharth responsible for Pratyusha's death as murder or premeditated killing. Instead, Siddharth was held responsible for abetting her suicide, and those were the charges filed and presented in court. The court sentenced Siddharth to 5 years in prison, but later 3 years were reduced, so the total sentence became 2 years. Usually, bail is granted within 2 years, so Siddharth got bail. However, even today, Pratyusha's mother says it was a huge conspiracy involving powerful people against her daughter. Otherwise, they wouldn't see even a post-mortem report being questioned and everything twisted like it was in court. The biggest question from her was that Pratyusha had no reason or motive to commit suicide. She was happy with her life, was soaring in her career, loved Siddharth, and wanted to marry him. Although the family was not ready, eventually they would have agreed. The biggest question also was, when both took poison together, one died and one survived. There were many such questions because she was a mother. But the CBI's final closure report and what was presented in court stated that Pratyusha committed suicide. The reason was that she wanted to marry Siddharth, but Siddharth's family was not ready, and Siddharth was also helpless. That's why they decided to die together. He was found guilty of abetting her suicide. According to the law, if 2 people attempt to die and one survives, the survivor is held responsible. If both had died, there would have been no case. But since one survived, he became the accused. This is exactly what happened in this case. Later, Siddharth was acquitted, but even today it remains a mystery whether Pratyusha's death was truly or if something wrong happened to her. The post-mortem report raised many questions, and after the CBI's report, the doctor who prepared that report was suspended by the authorities. That doctor kept pleading that his report was accurate, but nothing came of it, and the case was left unresolved. After that, Pratyusha's mother runs a trust in her daughter's memory, which helps poor and helpless girls, so that what happened to her daughter doesn't happen to anyone else. The trust also provides legal assistance to such girls to ensure that no one else becomes a victim of such injustice. But what's most heartbreaking for the mother is that in her last interview, she said her daughter never got justice. According to her, her daughter didn't commit suicide. It was murder. First the police and then the CBI completely buried the case. There are many such cases in our country where justice has either not been served or is still pending. Questions are raised, especially about how investigative agencies handle such cases. But the most serious concerns arise when even the post-mortem report is questioned. At the time of Pratyusha's death, she had completed 2 films, though they hadn't been released yet. After her death, her final 2 films were released, one in 2002 and another in 2004. Apart from these, she had worked on a few more projects, but those films were never fully completed. Only those 2 films made it to release after her passing. So this was today's story. Thank you for joining us on this journey today. We hope you enjoyed the content and found it valuable. Hello everyone, my name is David. Today we are going to take a look at another horrible case with you. A girl lived in the Janakpuri area of Delhi, the capital of India. Her name was Nancy Sharma and she was born in Janakpuri in 1999. Nancy was in love with a boy named Sahil Chopra. Their relationship hadn't been going on for very long when it began. At that time, Sahil was 18 years old and Nancy was 16. So there was a 2-year age gap in their relationship. Nancy loved Sahil very deeply, and Sahil also loved Nancy a lot. Eventually, because of this relationship, Sahil and Nancy decided to start living together in cohabitation. They really liked the idea of living together and both agreed to it. After making this decision, Sahil rented an apartment in Delhi to live with Nancy. Once he got the apartment, he told Nancy about it, and then the 2 of them moved in together. From the day they moved into the flat, their life in cohabitation had officially begun. But Sahil and Nancy didn't just want to live together. They also wanted to get married. In fact, they had discussed marriage, but they didn't marry at the time because Nancy was only 16 and still had 2 more years to turn 18. That was the only reason they didn't get married. Sahil couldn't stay away from Nancy, which is why he chose to live with her in cohabitation. Since Nancy started living with Sahil, she began to feel very happy with her life. Nancy was also very excited to marry Sahil and was waiting to turn 18 so she could marry him, and Sahil was also waiting for her to become 18. After that, they lived together in cohabitation for a full 2 years. Then, when Nancy turned 18 while living with Sahil, they were both overjoyed. Sahil had waited a long 2 years for Nancy to become an adult, and now that wait was finally over, and Nancy was legally old enough to marry Sahil. Nancy turned 18 in 2019, and after that, Sahil proposed to her, and Nancy accepted his proposal. Then Sahil and Nancy got married in March 2019, and they were very happy after their wedding. Nancy had always been a cheerful and outgoing girl since childhood. She loved making lots of friends and had many of them growing up. Nancy Sharma was born into a middle-class family in the Janakpuri area of Delhi. She had a passion for dancing and partying since childhood, and even though she was born into a middle-class family, she never believed in limiting her freedom because of money. In 2017, when Nancy was 16, she attended the birthday party of a close friend. The party was very exclusive, and many friends of the birthday girl and Nancy were also there. Nancy had a great time at the party. At this party, there was also a boy named Sahil Chopra. At that time, Sahil was 18 years old and came from a wealthy family. In fact, Sahil helped his father with their car service and dealership business. Apart from this, Sahil was supposed to do the same work in the future as well. That's why Sahil was already learning how to manage the business. Sahil was already very rich, but even with all his wealth, Sahil was not spoiled. Sahil knew the value of money very well because he came from a business family. That's why Sahil knew exactly how to use money in business. But Sahil was also enjoying the parties. But while enjoying one of these parties, Sahil suddenly noticed Nancy. When Sahil saw Nancy at the party, he couldn't take his eyes off her, and then Nancy also looked at Sahil. When Sahil saw Nancy for the first time at that moment, he instantly fell in love with her. After that, Sahil thought of meeting Nancy at the party. With that thought, Sahil went up to Nancy and started talking to her. Nancy was also very happy to meet Sahil and began chatting with him. Then Sahil and Nancy spent some time together at the party. During this first meeting itself, Sahil and Nancy fell in love with each other and from day one started caring deeply for one another. After that, they danced together at the party and even had drinks together. Sahil and Nancy enjoyed the birthday party together like this, and after some time, the party ended. But after the party ended, Sahil and Nancy didn't want to forget each other. Both of them wanted their relationship to continue just like this. To take their relationship forward, Sahil and Nancy exchanged phone numbers. Then they started talking to each other over the phone and sometimes even met in person. But now Sahil and Nancy had become very attached to each other. So gradually, with time, their relationship kept getting stronger. Whenever Sahil and Nancy met, they used to plan how great their future would be if they stayed together like this forever. Sahil and Nancy also used to talk about how wonderful it would be if they were married. Most of the time, they talked about their future together. But now, after spending so much time with Sahil, Nancy had started to believe that Sahil was very serious about her, which made Nancy feel very excited about him too. After that, Nancy also started telling her friends about Sahil. Then Sahil and Nancy continued spending more time together just like before. But after spending so much time together, Sahil once told Nancy that she should talk to her father about him. Sahil told Nancy that he had a business. He came from a good family and he wasn't some aimless guy. Sahil also told Nancy that once her father knew everything about him, he didn't think her father would have any problem with their relationship. Sahil told Nancy that her father would understand their relationship well, and after that they could talk to him about getting married. Nancy was very happy to hear this from Sahil because no boy had ever shared his feelings with her so seriously before. And Sahil was so serious about Nancy that he wanted to talk to her father and ask her parents for permission to marry her. Nancy also tells Sahil that she will definitely talk to her father about their relationship. After that, Nancy again talks to her father about her relationship with Sahil. Nancy tells her father everything about Sahil. She tells him that Sahil is her boyfriend and she met him a while ago at a friend's birthday party. Nancy's father listens to everything she says, and after she finishes, she goes quiet. After hearing her out, Nancy's father tells her to go to her room. But the very next day, after listening to Nancy, her father starts investigating Sahil. During the investigation, Nancy's father finds out something about Sahil that shocks him. In fact, he learns that Sahil is heavily into drugs and drinks a lot of alcohol. Nancy's father clearly finds out that Sahil often goes to clubs, drinks heavily there, and also indulges in promiscuous behavior. He tells Nancy all of this about Sahil and also tells her that she is only 16 years old, so she shouldn't be paying attention to such things. He tells her to focus on her studies and stay away from Sahil. Even after hearing this, Nancy keeps talking to her father about Sahil. She tells her father that he doesn't know Sahil as well as she does. Nancy also tells her father that Sahil is very serious about her and he was the one who encouraged her to talk to him, but her father didn't listen to her properly. After this, arguments begin between Nancy and her father. Some time later, Sahil also asks Nancy whether she talked to her father about him or not. Nancy tells Sahil that she did talk to her father, and then she tells Sahil while crying that her father will never agree to their relationship. Hearing this, Sahil tells Nancy to explain his family background to her father again. Sahil also tells Nancy that maybe her father didn't agree because he got worried after hearing her out, and that's why he thinks Sahil is a troublemaker. After hearing this, Nancy goes to talk to her father again. This time, her father listens to her and becomes extremely angry. Nancy's father then tells her that he will go to Sahil's house and talk to his parents, and he will also ask Sahil why he is misleading his 16-year-old daughter. After hearing all this from her father, Nancy gets angry and starts arguing with him. During the argument, Nancy tells her father that she will leave the house and go somewhere else. Hearing this, her father tells her that if she leaves, she should never come back. Though he said this in anger, hearing these words breaks Nancy's heart, and then she packs all her belongings and goes to Sahil. At this time, Sahil tells Nancy that he doesn't want to stay away from her even for a short time, and that he never wants to see her unhappy. This was the moment when Sahil suggested the idea of living together in cohabitation. At that time, Sahil was ready to do anything for Nancy. In fact, Nancy had left her home after getting angry with her family, so she had no problem living in cohabitation with Sahil. The only one who was going to face a problem was Sahil himself. Sahil didn't want his family to find out that he was living in cohabitation with a girl because live-in relationships are looked down upon in India. So Sahil made an excuse to his family that he wanted to pursue further studies and needed to live in a flat to do that. Hearing this, Sahil's parents were very happy because they had no idea that their son wanted to live in that flat with a girl, and Sahil had never told them anything about Nancy. That's why Sahil's parents agreed to his request. Sahil's parents believed that their son genuinely wanted to pursue higher studies, so they were very proud of him. After some time, Sahil made all the arrangements to live in cohabitation with Nancy. Ever since Nancy started living with Sahil, she had become even more free-spirited than before. This was because no family member was around to stop her now. At that time, Nancy was still finishing her school education, and she couldn't take up a job yet, so Sahil promised her not to worry and that he would cover all her expenses. Hearing this, Nancy now had the leeway, and she started going to more parties and shopping more than before, and she also started dwelling into expensive accessories. Besides that, Nancy and Sahil began spending most of their time at clubs and on long drives. Now, for Nancy, her entire emotional support was Sahil and a few of his friends, because ever since she had left her house, she had cut ties with her entire family. Sahil was waiting for Nancy to turn 18 and was constantly thinking about when he would make Nancy his wife. During their time living in cohabitation, Sahil and Nancy never had any fights or arguments. After all this waiting, the day finally came when Sahil and Nancy were to get married. When Sahil and Nancy got married in 2019, Nancy sent one of her wedding photos to her sister, even though she hadn't spoken to her family in those 2 years. But on that day, Nancy began to miss her family. After sending the wedding photo to her sister, Nancy told her that she was very happy and that she and their father shouldn't worry about her. After marrying Nancy, Sahil took her to his home on March 7th, 2019. Sahil's parents were shocked to see their son with this girl. They were shocked because they believed their son Sahil had been studying for the past 2 years, and they thought he would make them proud after completing his studies. Sahil's parents were deeply shocked by his actions and didn't like Nancy either. They were not happy at all with Sahil's marriage. Sahil's parents had hoped that after finishing his studies, Sahil would take over his father's business. To make his parents happy, Sahil then promised his father that he would fully take charge of the family's car retail business. Because of Sahil's promise, his entire family became happy and eventually accepted both Sahil and Nancy. Sahil's family accepted them because Sahil and Nancy had already gotten married and there was nothing they could do about it anymore. To protect his reputation and maintain his image in society, Sahil's father suggested that Sahil and Nancy should have a proper wedding ceremony again on March 27, 2019. Sahil's father suggested this because their family was very large. He believed that if they didn't do this, people would say that their son Sahil eloped with a girl and married her after living together for 2 years. Because of all this, complications could arise for their family and business. Nancy also invited her entire family to the wedding through her sister. She told her family to definitely attend her wedding and speak with Sahil's father as well. But on the day Nancy was supposed to marry Sahil again, no one from her family came to the wedding. This deeply upset Sahil's father. The very next day, on March 28, 2019, Sahil and Nancy's marriage became public, and they began living together as husband and wife in the same house. Sahil's family was also very happy about everything. However, after the wedding, Sahil and Nancy's life had changed significantly. As time passed after their marriage, the love between Sahil and Nancy gradually started to fade. After their marriage, they began having small arguments. Actually, Sahil started spending most of his time outside the house, and Nancy wouldn't talk to Sahil for several days. Before their marriage, Sahil and Nancy had lived together for 2 years in cohabitation, and during that time they never fought. But now, after marriage, they would get angry at each other over small things. Because of this, Nancy began feeling lonely in her own home. She would cry for days and never shared these things with any of her friends. To come out of this situation, Nancy decided that she should start talking to her parents again. After thinking this, Nancy began speaking with her family. After spending some time talking to her, Nancy's family also began to soften toward her. However, Nancy still didn't tell her parents that her relationship with Sahil was no longer good. Nancy's parents had become very close to her, and as Nancy grew distant from Sahil, she became closer to her family and friends. Nancy still hadn't told her family or friends how Sahil treated her or behaved with her. She used to talk about all of this jokingly with one of her close friends. Nancy and this close friend always joked around with each other, so this friend never took Nancy's words too seriously. This close friend thought that Nancy was just sending random messages about her relationship and married life like she usually did. She used to send this friend some message every day, and the two of them would talk once or twice a week. But then once again, on November 11th, 2019, Sahil asked Nancy to come with him to Panipat, as Sahil had to go there for some work. During that time, Sahil and Nancy were also upset with each other, so Sahil thought that going on this trip would make Nancy very happy. That's why Sahil asked Nancy to join him on this trip. Nancy also apologized to Sahil and agreed to go with him. Nancy was very excited about this trip because after a long time, Sahil was behaving like the old Sahil again, the one who loved Nancy deeply. So, on November 11th, 2019, Sahil and Nancy left home for their Panipat trip. While they were on their way a short while later, Nancy received a call from her close friend who used to call her often. But this time, Nancy did not pick up her friend's call. Nancy had never done this before with her close friend, so her friend found it all very strange. After that, Nancy's close friend tried calling her again and again on September 20th, 2019, but this time Nancy's phone kept getting disconnected and she didn't send any message either. Then Nancy's close friend also called Sahil, but his phone was busy at that time. Now, Nancy's close friend started getting really worried. After that, Nancy's friend quickly called Nancy's parents. After hearing everything from Nancy's friend, her parents became very anxious and tried calling Nancy too. But even at that time, Nancy's phone was not reachable, so her parents decided to go to Sahil's parents. When Nancy's parents reached Sahil's house, they told his parents everything. Sahil's parents also told Nancy's parents that they too had tried calling both Sahil and Nancy, but couldn't get through, and they were also worried. After talking to Sahil's family, Nancy's parents became even more scared and started searching for Nancy themselves in Delhi. Nancy's parents also filed a report at the police station in Delhi, and they started asking Nancy's friends and Sahil's friends about them. But still, Nancy's family found no clue about their whereabouts. Then suddenly, Sahil himself called Nancy's parents, and this time Nancy's father answered the call. Nancy's dad asked Sahil if he was okay and how his daughter Nancy was and where the two of them were. Sahil told Nancy's dad that while they were on the Panipat trip, Nancy had asked him to stop the car on the way. After stopping the car, Nancy told him to wait there while she went shopping. Then Sahil told Nancy's dad that since then, Nancy had gone missing and her phone wasn't reachable. For Nancy's family, Sahil was the only hope through which they could find her. But after talking to Sahil, Nancy's entire family was terrified. Sahil clearly told Nancy's dad that he didn't know where his wife Nancy was. Besides him, no one else knew anything about Nancy, and no one had seen her again on that road. After hearing this from Sahil, Nancy's father began to think about it. But after some time, he called Nancy's close friend, the one Nancy often talked to. In fact, Nancy's father called this close friend and told her that whatever she knew about Nancy, she should tell him everything honestly, without fear. Hearing the stressful tone in Nancy's father's voice, the friend began to tell him the whole truth about Nancy. Nancy's friend told Nancy's father that ever since Nancy married Sahil, fights and arguments had started between them, and for many days they didn't even talk to each other. Then Nancy's friend shared something very important with Nancy's father. She said that a few days before Nancy's trip to Panipat with Sahil, Nancy had sent her a very crucial and scary message. In that message, Nancy sent her a selfie, but in the selfie, Nancy was crying. Nancy had also told her friend that if she ever went out of contact or something happened to her, the friend should inform her family and tell them that her husband Sahil was behind it all. Hearing this, Nancy's father was very shocked and worried. After that, Nancy's parents informed the police about this. After getting this information, the police arrested Sahil and his two friends and started questioning them. Sahil told the police the same story he had told Nancy's father on the phone. He also told the police that he had gone to Panipat again to search for Nancy. Then the police checked Sahil's phone location, which was in Panipat. Sahil also told the police that Nancy had gone missing in Delhi before going to Panipat. But when the police checked Nancy's phone's last location, it was also in Panipat. After all this investigation, the police realized Sahil was lying. Then the police pressured Sahil and his friends heavily to tell them the whole truth. But it was only after 3 days that Sahil started telling the police everything honestly. Sahil told the police that on November 10th, 2019, he and Nancy were not talking to each other, so he got fed up with everything and gave Nancy an ultimatum on November 10th. But this made their fight worse than before, and then he told 2 of his friends about it. One of these friends was named Shubham, who worked in his garage. After telling them everything, he made a plan with them, and because of this plan, Nancy could never fight with him again. Then, on November 11th, 2019, he apologized to Nancy and asked her to go on a trip with him. Then he, Nancy, Shubham, and another friend set off together for the trip. After seeing Sahil's 2 friends, Nancy thought Sahil was probably taking these friends along for his business matters, so she agreed to go with them alone. Shubham was driving to Panipat, and Sahil's other friend was sitting in the seat next to Shubham. Sahil and Nancy were both sitting together in the back seat of the car, very close to each other, talking like they used to before. But just as the trip to Panipat was about to begin, at that time Shubham drove the car onto a rough shortcut road and told everyone that this was a shortcut to Panipat. It was around 8 o'clock in the evening, so Sahil told Shubham to quickly get the car out of there. But Shubham drove the car further into the forest for some time, and after going a little more, he stopped the car on one side of the road. After stopping the car, Shubham said he would go relieve himself, and Sahil went with him. At this time, Sahil and Shubham were outside the car on one side, while Nancy and Sahil's other friend were standing near the car on the other side. Sahil's friend was talking to Nancy and suddenly grabbed Nancy's left hand during the conversation. Seeing this, Shubham on the other side suddenly grabbed Nancy's right hand. Before Nancy could react, Sahil came in front of her. After Sahil approached Nancy, he placed a gun to her head and fired 2 shots. Nancy died there on the spot. After this, the 3 knew their car's tire tracks had been traced into the forest, so they picked up Nancy's dead body and carried it about a kilometer inside the woods before dumping it. After doing all this, Sahil switched off his phone and those of his 2 friends. They spent the night in Panipat and wandered around afterward. Sahil's last stop was Muzaffarnagar, where he tried to sell his car. After that, Sahil came back to Delhi and contacted Nancy's father. Sahil confessed everything truthfully to the police about where and how they had killed Nancy, and then the police arrested all 3 of them. After some time, the police also found Nancy's dead body, which was beginning to decay. The police then started investigating the reasons behind Nancy's murder. They discovered 2 reasons. The first came from Nancy's father and a close friend, who told the police that since Sahil and Nancy's marriage, Sahil had little interest in Nancy. Sahil wanted to get rid of Nancy quickly so he could have fun with other girls, and that's why he killed her. The second reason came from Sahil and his family. They told the police that the biggest cause of fights between Sahil and Nancy was Nancy's expenses. They said that since Sahil and Nancy married, Nancy's expenses had increased significantly, causing fights between them. Sahil could not tolerate this, so he murdered Nancy. This is the latest update on the case, which is still ongoing in court. We will keep monitoring this case, and as soon as we receive any new updates, we will inform you through the David True Crime Channel's community post or the comments section of this video. So, with that, the Nancy Sharma murder case comes to an end right here. If you appreciate our efforts, like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed, do so now. Thank you.